I'll explain when we get to it with your stuff or after your stuff.
Take it, we're live now.
Yeah, we are live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know what day it is anymore. I think it's day 4 of our squad adventures. So, day 1, Woody and I kind of introduced squad and put it into play in our More Speakers app. Got it working, introduced our team and everything. By day 2, we started connecting it and having it look at issues and come up with a list of issues to work on. Basically, we had our lead Ripley go ahead and start looking at the project and then decide what was needed. Figured out that there was some inconsistent error handling happening. So Ripley created a series of issues in our GitHub repo. And then on Wednesday, or video 3, depending on how you're watching this, we had Ripley and team start working on our first 2 issues. So when we wrapped up the last video, I think Dallas and Vasquez were writing out the last of the issues or running out the last of code and tests for issues 390 or 386, I think it was. I probably should have looked that up beforehand, but I think it was 386. Good processor days. Remember the days of the 386?
The 386, yes, I do. I had a 486 DX 100 was my first laptop.
Ooh, you had a laptop with it. You must have been loaded.
Well, no, I took out a big loan. It was about 2.5 inches thick. It
Yeah,
had a 640 by 480 active matrix screen,
yeah.
and I can't. It had like maybe 100 meg hard drive, and it was $3,500.
And probably weighed 3,500 pounds too.
I think it was like 8 pound. It was like 8 pounds.
Yeah, it's amazing how we've come. I remember I built a 486 computer myself. I think I was 15 at the time, 14 or 15. And when I built it, it was pretty fast. I got it with 2 hard drives because at the time I was running a bulletin board. For those of you who know what a bulletin board is, that was the old way of us sharing files and stuff. You'd log in. It's the days before Instagram and Facebook and all the different chat apps, and we would log onto bulletin boards and chat with each other, share files. So I had one with 2 CD-ROMs. So I had over a gig and a half of shareware files that I would sell, that I would offer. So I had subscriptions to my bulletin board. And the one thing I remember, I got at the time a 487 Math Code processor. So now
Wow.
those are built into the chips. You have your regular instruction set, and then there was a separate CPU just to handle math calculations.
Yeah.
And I bought one. I think it was like $400 or $500 at the time, and I put it in, and you'll never believe how much of a difference it made. So I did a test, and this was way before blogging and stuff. I did a test. I started off with this image. There was this application that allowed you to morph GIFs or GIFs, depending on how you pronounce it, from one image to another. So I took I took a picture of planet Earth, and it was like a 600 by 480 GIF file, and a picture of a dinosaur, which was 640 by 480, and put these two in there, and the program basically created an animated GIF that cycled through them. Well, when I ran it the first time, it took a little bit over 3 days, 3.5 days, if I remember correctly. I put in the math coprocessor and it ran in like 5 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, it just
Hmm.
goes to show you all the calculations, and the machine was doing it. So the CPU was ready to offload it to, the instructions for all the calculations to another chip, which is great. I mean, nowadays we have multiple processing cores inside of our computers. So that's why we're
But
allowed to run so many things at once.
but that reminds me of using a GPU. You remember
Yeah.
when we didn't have GPUs? We basically everything had to graphics
Everything
and
ran from the
everything
same.
had to go through the CPU.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah, I remember
Nowadays, they're more expensive than the computers in some cases.
they are. They are. It's funny. The prices of CPUs are going down, but
Yeah.
you can't find any RAM for it, and you can't find any
Yeah.
GPUs. So,
Yeah.
luckily on my big Windows desktop that I've got over here, I have 96 gig of RAM in it.
Nice.
But I only have a 4060 with 8 gig of RAM for the GPU, so which isn't quite big enough to handle the uh, all the LLMs that we use today.
Yeah. Maybe that's something we'll stream about. I have one of the Windows Copilot PCs that has a dedicated MP unit that's supposedly able to handle it. It can do a lot of that generation on its own. So it will
Yeah.
stream how I figure out how to use that because I still haven't really tried that yet. So getting back to the squad as we digress. So we look at the PR, everything went in there. We see we have 4 separate issues that were attached to it. Ripley did a code review of it and found everything was fine. So Woody merged it yesterday. And this one took about, I think it finished about 10 minutes after we were done with the stream. So we're kind of done with that. We can start assigning other issues, but Woody has something he wants to share. But before we go to that, one of the things I want to talk about briefly is yesterday when we started, I kind of did the GitHub dash dash squad or dash dash agent squad to get started yesterday. And when I did a team, it didn't recognize our team, and I had to tell it, hey, go back and check for the team again. Well, today I did it. It said the user is greeting the team. Let me check if the squad exists. And this time it looked directly for the team squad instead of AI-squad, which it was doing yesterday. So it found it and it says, hey, the squad's here, ready to go. And it was queued, it waved at me, and then gave me a list of all the agents and asked, what are we ready for today? So but that was cool. It kind of learned that, the squad was here and it was ready and tells me everything that we're doing. So would that be, one other thing I noticed, which I caught on to yesterday. If you notice, we've been opening up Visual Studio Code. There's some
Yeah.
link behind Copilot and Visual Studio Code that I haven't figured out yet. And what I noticed is there's this chat session here. And now it's not showing. It was showing before when I first started. It was showing all the different chats I had going on with Copilot. So it showed me
Okay.
the chat from yesterday, the chats from today, and now it just disappeared. Wonder why.
Maybe it doesn't like you. The
I
AI
literally
is.
just had it. All I did was restart Visual Studio Code. Oh, we'll see. Maybe it'll pop up if we do it.
Maybe it'll pop up later.
Okay. That being said, I'm going to stop the share and see what you want to show us today, Woody.
Okay. Well, let's. So I had an idea. So I'm going to show my screen.
It's first time for everything, right, folks?
I know. I know. I'm just going to share my whole window. No, that's not it. Entire screen. There we go. And
I'm going to bump up the font a little bit.
pump up the volume. Okay,
Yep.
so
Dance.
No one's gonna get that.
It's good.
Is that good?
Yeah, I can read it.
You
It's
can read
also
it.
it's
Old
also
guys.
zoomed in on, because it's compressed and
Yeah, yeah.
if you're looking at the full stream, it's probably a lot bigger.
Okay, so I have uh, a open source project called Baseball History, and what it is I will show what it looks like. So this is the application. So what I have is I have a all of there's a GitHub repository that has data from 1871 until last season, 2025. And I grabbed it all and I put it into a SQLite database, and I did all the joins and associations and made it relational. And I had Claude whip up this app on top of it.
Are
So
all the
this
people in
isn't
this
really
real?
neat.
This is real
What?
data. All the
This
people
is
in this
real
are real.
data, yeah.
So one of
So
our friends was inducted to the Hall of Fame,
who's that?
Bill Wagner.
Billy Wagner. So Billy Wagner was a closer. You know that.
Yeah, I know. I was just
Yeah.
joking in
But
case
Bill
Bill
Wagner,
ever
yeah,
turns
that's
on the
true.
stream.
I didn't good catch. So you can come in and has about page, but you can look up players. So let's look up who's your favorite baseball player, Joe?
I don't have one, but let's look at my son's Pete Alonso.
How you spell that?
A
How you spell
L
his last name?
A L
A-L.
O N S S A, I think. Alonso. No, it's O. I think it's it.
You think it's that?
Yeah. It doesn't look right though. Just search up Peter.
Is it Pete or Peter?
I think he goes by Pete.
Okay. Let's see if we can align.
Time for me to go
Does it
look it up
break?
in another window.
Did this break? Oh, wow. I think it broke. Huh. Okay, well, that's broken, so we could probably get it fixed. So I'll kind of run through. You can look up players and say like Hank Aaron. I can click on that. Wow. Everything broke in this. Since
Are you
I
running
have
it locally?
tests. I have tests, and it's supposed to pop up. It's supposed to have like a modal dialogue that
Open up DevTools and see what it's telling you.
yeah,
Maybe a
let's do
script
that.
failed to load or you forgot to publish a script.
Failed to load the resource.
And it
Status
didn't load the
4.
style sheet. So if your
What?
style sheet's not, it didn't load a style sheet. So if style sheet's not there, it might not have the CSS to do it, but it still shouldn't stop.
But now I'm not getting an error. Huh. So let's try it.
Why don't you
Not getting
inspect the item and see if you have the click event or something's being handled?
Yeah, let's see. Network.
Nah,
Not even
it
getting
looks
a
like
click.
it looks like the click event's not being taken care of.
Huh. That is really weird.
I don't
Well,
see any
let's.
JavaScript files there either.
No, there's no JavaScript in this except for HTMX. Let me run it.
Oh, you need HTML. HTMX is a JavaScript
Is a
file.
I said except for, yeah, it's let me run this. This is kind of embarrassing. So let's see if, okay. Huh. So why,
It probably a file got that wasn't pushed.
yeah, probably something got corrupted on the deployment to Azure. So, so I can come in and I can take a look at Hank Aaron. You can see all of his stats. Uh, so I've got that. We also have teams. So I could look up, let's look up New York Mets. So here's all the, basically the basic stats for the New York Mets since they were around in 1962. So, but you can come in and was it 68 that no, 69 that they were the World Series champs. Then you can click in here and it will show you uh, all of the batters and pitchers that were on here. So then I could see like Tom Seaver. I could take a look at that. It'll show you lots of different things. It'll show you how many people attended for the year. Um, so I have all those stats. And then I even have pitching where you can come in and say like home run. But let's take a look at like stolen bases. So Ricky Henderson is the stolen base leader.
He
So
was
you can,
incredible on the bases.
yeah, he was. And Lou Brock was too. So Lou Brock was one of my favorite players. And you can come in and see all the Hall of Famers. So I've got lots of different stats, even awards. I'm working on this right now. You can compare two baseball players. Like you could compare, and maybe this is broken. I've been working on this compare. But I also have a API. So I have a REST API behind this. So you can pull in and get data without the front end. So it has a little documentation to show you how to use the REST API. So how I'm using this is Claude just created this, and Claude used what basically whatever UX it wanted to. But I also have this other open source project called HTMX Razor. And my idea around this was could I create a bunch of basically web components that were server rendered that I could use to build UIs. So if I come in here, the home page is kind of just the starting point, but I do have kind of a demo where I can come in and say like, oh, let's take a look at a drop down. And there's a drop down, and you can see that does, and then it shows you the code behind. So basically, I have this RHX dash. So that is my kind of nomenclature for inserting one of my web components if you were building out an application.
That stands for really helpful extensions.
Well, originally, this project was going to be called Razor HX. Was the original name for the project. But then I discovered that in the NuGet package catalog, there's already a Razor HX. So I had to figure out something else. So I used HTMX Razor, but I just kept the nomenclature, the designation, the
So before starting projects, we need not only do we
Check.
need to check to make
Yes.
sure domains are available, we need to make sure the NuGet package name.
Yeah, make sure NuGet, there isn't a NuGet package name that you want. But so I've got different things, like I've got a color picker, so you can come in and pick a color, file input. So basically, it's kind of everything that you kind of would need. I have dialogues, so you can have modal dialogues. I've got drawers, so you can do things like have on different sides. But you can see kind of all the details and stuff like that. Trying to show a really kind of cool one.
So, playing devil's advocate, what's the difference between this and Bootstrap other than you created this or some other
So
HTML library?
this uses HTMX. So let's go up to like button, because HTMX buttons are. So what I have here is you can assign and have HTMX assigned or using directly inside these web components. So as we can see here, I've got a RHX button which has the HTMX kind of web markup to use for behind the scenes for using HTMX directly in this web component.
Okay.
As you can see, I've got the hx.get, which goes back to a API in the back. So I'm going to target result, and I'm going to do inner HTML.
Maybe we should take a step back for those that don't know what the HTMX
Don't know what
is.
HTMX is?
Since you
So-
just jumped into a lot of that.
Sure. So HTMX is a very small JavaScript library. It's about 14K. And what you can do with HTMX is you can have server-side updates. And this is especially nice in ASP.NET, and I use it in Razor Pages. And what it will do is it will go out and get a snippet of HTML and replace or add the HTML to whatever your target that you're wanting to update. So think of it, if anyone remembers Ajax, and it was mostly Ajax forms.
The
back in
Ajax
the day.
panel.
The
what you're
panel,
saying.
yes. But this is Ajax, and you can target anything. You can target divs, you can target controls. So I could say, hey, press this button, and this other button gets replaced based on something that happens in the back end.
And it doesn't have to just be HTML, right?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be just HTML, but primarily it's HTML. But it could be JavaScript. You could bring in new JavaScript. You could. I don't know if you could bring in new CSS or not, but primarily this is to improve the user experience. So you don't have to have full page. I use it so I don't have to have full page refreshes for ASP.NET Razor Pages. So say I wanted to have a, let's see if there's a good.
I mean, you can show it
example.
with the more speakers since we use it with that.
Yes, we do. So let's go down. I have some patterns. So let's go down to overview. So in this infinite scroll, as you can see, I am scrolling, and as I'm scrolling, you can probably see a little glyph down in the bottom left of this control. And what it's doing is it's constantly adding more items. So what that is doing is I fire off a event in HTMX, which goes out to the uh, code behind this ASP.NET page. So it goes back to the C#.NET code, and it says, "Hey, I need more items for this list." And what it will do is it will create the HTML that represents that represents new items, and it will actually send back the HTML back to the front end, which in this case amends or adds to the bottom of the HTML code inside this control. So that's why, I mean, I can scan all the way back up and you can see there's still all the original items. So with HTMX, you can replace inside a control, you can replace the whole control, what you're targeting, you can add before or after, and you can do some other things too, but primarily those are the kind of the most popular items. And yeah, it's interesting. Like I can search, say like Bob or live update. I'm trying to figure out what the search thing, but yeah. So in here, I made all these controls because what I didn't want to have to do is add a control, then add the HTMX code to it, and then have it like test it and everything. So in this case, I can just add in, I can come in and say, I want I don't know, we'll go a tree. And this is kind of what a tree looks like. Now this actually doesn't have HTML, or do we have an HTMX? Yes, we have an HTMX. This is a lazy load. So what this will do is, you can see there's no items in here. It's because it basically does a lazy load and goes out and grabs the children that need to be brought in. So once you bring them in, it doesn't fire it back off. Okay. So hopefully that gives kind of a little overview of everything. There is a example. I have a little application. Where's the... Oh, I have a project. It actually, I don't run it, but there is a little project in here that will show you kind of a little businessy object kind of application. So what I want to do is take the baseball history application that Claude developed, and I want to have Squad go through and convert it to use the HTMX Razor pages, or HTMX Razor web component set. So what I have already done, and let me bring this up, I've already run the initial squad and got everything set up. So as we can see, we have our agents. So in this case, I got the same agents that you did for your project. So I got the alien one. And I also ran through let me see if I can. Now, Joe, help me out here. Decision. So if I ask it to like review the code base and look at it and do a plan for something, where's where are those in? Are those in decisions
Did you
or
already run it?
I've already run it. Yes, it's already been set up to know about the code base and about what I want to do. The migration from uh, the
So
original
some of that will
UX.
be in decisions, and then some of that will be in issues depending on how you did it. They
So
could
if
also
I
write it out to each of the different charters.
okay, so
Maybe
here's
zoom in a little bit on
decisions.
that.
Yeah. So let me see how I can if I can how I can
Try Control plus or Command plus.
yeah.
It usually works with most
Yeah.
things.
Yep. So here are the squad decisions. So it gives me my key strengths. So Razor Pages plus HTMX Foundation is production proven. Uh, tells gives me my migration path. So it wants to do a page by page rollout, not component by shared component. So it wants to convert a page at a time. So it will extract the shared components, migrate shared dot layouts, migrate player page, migrate the teams, and compare awards and salary, and then migrate the stats and the leaders since it's the highest complexity, and uh, and then it also some minor risks tells you the risks. So this is really interesting. Oh, and then it also decides these are also well, that was Ripley's decisions, and then we go through. So Dallas is our front end developer. Uh, Parker's our back end. So it kind of gives you an idea of what each
Interesting. In our
agent.
case, for more speakers, Parker was a DevOps person.
Oh, okay,
It's moonlighting.
okay. Well, that's cool. Well, he got a new job, so I don't know if it's good or bad. Then Ash is our data platform, so he's in charge of caching and kind of working with SQLite and stuff like that. And then we just have some governance. Um, so I have uh, brought back up Squad, and we have started the Copilot CLI. So
Interesting. It looks different on your machine than it does on mine.
it does, and I was actually going to ask you why you thought that, because I don't know. Like, it
Oh,
gives
you're
me
using the Squad CLI and not the Copilot CLI. That's why.
okay. Well, in the Squad
So,
instructions, it
yeah, that's kind of dated. They don't want you to
oh,
use
is it?
that because it's not as robust. So, I would
Okay,
exit
well
from
let's
that.
let's start over and we can
Start a new
do
terminal.
so we
Is
can
that your
do
directory? Yeah, do that right there. That whole
we can
command.
do Copilot.
Oh,
So
you're
we
right.
could
That whole full command right there.
okay.
Dash agent squad YOLO.
Okay,
There you go. That's the
cool.
preferred way. The
This
instructions are a
is the
little
new
dated.
preferred way. Okay.
Yeah.
So it did fail to connect to whatever this example. Yeah, there's probably no example GitHub MCP server out there. So let me just clear it. I think it's what
There's
clear.
no clear on there.
Oh, I thought actually there. I thought there
Everything
was
would
a
be
clear.
forward slash. Anything you do without a forward
Okay.
slash goes
Okay.
to it.
So I am. So I'm gonna come back and say, uh, what is the plan for migrating baseball history?
You don't have to give it the name of the project since you're already in the project.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, good. So, what is the plan for
I would just say for migrating
migrating
this project.
to HTMX Razor? So, let's see if it understands that. Okay. So there we have the migration path, incremental page by page rollout with a small shared component. Now I also have this, as you can see up top. I have this in a branch called HTMX Razor. So because I wanted to keep all this code as we were migrating uh, in one branch, so that if anything were to happen, I could revert back to the
So
original
if
to the
that's the
original
case,
code.
then I would say I would tell the agent saying, for all the work as part of this migration, I want you to use the current branch, HTMX Razor,
Okay.
going forward until I say that the migration is complete and we merge
Okay.
it.
For all the work for this migration, we will use the HTMX Razor get branch until I feel that uh,
The migration
this
is
work
complete.
this work is complete. Okay.
Otherwise, it might spin off other branches.
Okay. So I'm treating that branch as the working branch for this migration. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
So
So what?
the next things we want to do is start bringing up that work.
Yeah.
Unless we're going to try
So
to do it all at once.
yes. So should we show the cast right now? How do you
You can just
show?
literally type that, say, hey, show me the cast, or you can look up in the dot squad, there's a Teams folder.
Okay, so I just said show me the team.
There
Okay,
it goes.
so there's what we have. Uh, we have Squad as our coordinator. We got Ripley, Dallas, Parker, Lambert, Ash. Then we have our typical scribe, Ralph, and then co-pilot. Uh, okay, so now I want to, uh, I want to make sure. Do you have all of the knowledge for the HTMX Razor NuGet package to start the migration?
While it's thinking, do you have an MCP server for that?
No, I do not. Should I?
This is a little side thing, just, and you don't have to worry about spelling errors like that. It's pretty good at finding them because my spelling stinks. I read there's a blog post by David Pine, who's one of the
Oh yeah,
documenters at
yeah.
Microsoft. He wrote a blog post of how he created an MCP server. For those who don't know what MCP server, it's Model Context Protocol. It's basically a way for agents. It basically creates a protocol for agents to be able to read it. Think of it like the old days of ADO. ADO was a common pattern to query databases. It had connections, executing SQL, et cetera. MCP is like that. It's like an API that
Yeah.
allows agents to talk to backend APIs.
Yeah.
So he has documented how he built a MCP server for the Razor docs, or sorry, for
Oh.
the Aspire docs.
Oh,
So
that's kind of
now
cool.
when anyone wants to aspire something, they can easily add that MCP server, and it has everything in the docs, so the agents are smart enough to go out
Yeah. Yeah.
and figure out how to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I liken MCP servers to REST APIs so that
Yep,
if
that's exactly
if
what they are.
yeah, and if your application needs some kind of knowledge beyond what the LLM or what's in your project, yeah. So originally, like there are people that well, let's back up. Some LLMs, especially when MCP servers, that protocol was started, uh, didn't have a lot of basic knowledge. So, like, it couldn't figure out time zone differences. Like, so people
To
wrote
be fair, most people can't figure out time zone differences
I
as
know,
it
that's
stands
true,
now.
especially with daylight savings. But so they wrote these MCP servers to do basic things like US measurements to metric, or temperature, like different temperature, different like
Fahrenheit
conversions
to
or
Celsius.
stuff like that, that LLMs just weren't very good at. Uh, LLMs are not good at math. So people wrote mathematical uh, MCP servers like, hey, what is the square root of this? So yeah, it's that's interesting. I'll have to look at that, but let's get back. So yes, it has enough to start safely, but not all possible knowledge from memory alone. So I did give it the NuGet package. I gave it the repo for HTMX Razor. I also gave it the NuGet package link so it knows where to get that. So we'll see how well it does. So let's see. What do you think the next thing that we should do, Joe, is ask it what page we want to start migrating, or is there
I mean, you
something
could do.
before
I personally
what?
like to see the plan, so I would have it build out a draft of recommended next steps, kind of similar what it did with us. So you got the high level plan of five, but there are
Yeah.
five steps, but some of the steps are pretty big. And then if you want, I don't know if you're using the issues, you can add them as issues too. This way you can track them and assign them a little bit easier. I mean, you can actually tell it to get the work, but since this is a
Yeah.
decent sized migration, you might want to see the steps and baby step it. You also have to worry about, token usage and everything if you fire everything all at once, like we talked about a little bit in the last video.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So build out a draft of the complete plan with more details for the migration, and then create the issues in the GitHub repository that will represent the detailed plan. Hopefully, that is good enough for.
That should be enough. It'll probably say, well, you don't have the details showing for some reason.
How do you show details?
I don't know.
Oh.
Mine just show because remember,
okay.
the last three videos,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
there's kind of like text it's showing about it thinking.
Exactly. I was curious why I wasn't seeing that also, but I was going to ask you
I feel like it's probably a setting somewhere in there.
probably. We could say,
And I just do
oh,
/ and then they start coming up. Just type the / command, and then you can scroll up and down with your mouse or trackpad in there. Or actually, no, the up and down arrows. I forgot it's text based. It'll kind of go through all the
yeah,
different
it's no
commands.
big deal. So we'll let this plan kind of go. So right now, this is using GPT 5.4, uh, medium strength, which is probably good. But yeah, so hopefully we'll get this.
The plans
How's
usually go pretty quickly.
do they? And then we could also you can do tasks. So right now there are no background subagents and no detached shell session. So right now, uh, this must be, I don't know who's working on this. This must just be
It hasn't spawned off anyone yet if there are no tasks. Did you
okay.
type / task?
Yeah, I did. So no background test, no subagents, and
So
no
it's
shell. So it's just Copilot is just doing this. I take it.
it's getting ready to do it. It's probably trying to figure out who's doing it.
So the backlog structure is ready. I'm creating the actual GitHub issues now in dependency orders so that the umbrella issue can point at real issue numbers instead of hand wavy placeholders.
Cool. I would open up the Git repo and look.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of that happening in the background. In the meantime, I'm kind of looking up if that's a setting to show the details.
Well, there's nothing out there so far for baseball history, but we'll see. The first pass hit a shell safety guard, so I'm switching to a safer path. Okay. A small Python wrapper around GH issue create. And I did log into GitHub, so that should be okay. Hopefully that is.
You might have did that under the squad CLI and not the GitHub Copilot CLI.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that
Hey,
has
Joe,
anything to do
take
with it.
over for just a minute. I'll be right back.
I can't take over your screen, but
Just talk to the people. Talk to the people.
I'll talk to the people. Okay. Oh, look, the environment doesn't have Python. It only has Python 3, so he's rerunning it. I'm going to go check on my machine and see if it's... Actually, no, it's not running anything yet. Meantime, I'm going to steal the share and we're going to look at the documentation and see if there's any other stuff on that. So we're going to share the entire screen, share this screen. Let's pop that off. Okay, so we're looking for details while Woody's thing is going in the background. Labels and triad, Ralph Ford's consult mode, remote control, response modes. Oh, this might be what we need to do. check out response modes when he comes back and see if that works. See what else we got here. Rate limiting, stream squad. See if nothing's in that chat. I think we're gonna have to check out that mode. And a request needs full agent machinery. Squads automatically selects a response mode based on the complex. Oh, okay. So, I guess we don't control that. Maybe he's asking a lot easier questions than I was asking, which was giving the more detailed parallel, let it cook, start monitoring, permanent roles. That's not it. Attributing, model selection. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna have to go with that. All right, I forgot what it was called. Get issues. Where was it? Oh, response modes. While that's happening, I'm gonna look up what we need to do to add our own MCP server. Might be helpful to add one for that other project. Show me which MCP servers. Okay, so it looks like we just have to create a config file for it.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
So I found this for response modes. I don't know if that's going to help. We
Okay,
can go back to sharing your screen and see if your agents are back.
they are. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
So it drafted a migration plan. Looks like we have
About 10
12 tasks. It's kind of weird that we have 16, then 4, and then all the way up. So it must have said forgot
Well, that's
to
the
do.
master one. That's why.
Yeah.
Umbrella
You're
tracking
right.
issue
You're
for
right.
all of
That's the one that it does the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's
You're
showing you
exactly
all of them
right.
and what it thought is the most important, for it created the issues in order, and then number 16 was just this is everything I'm going to do.
Yeah, and then let us see if those have been created. Yep. So we've got 13 issues out in baseball history. So that's good. So now we have our work. Everything's enhancement except for documentation. So and that's the last. So basically, it will document everything.
Yeah, it's going to document the findings and any
Yeah.
decisions that were figured out by things it's learned doing those.
Yep. So it had that. So drafted the migration plan, defined the issue backlog, and then created the GitHub issues. Okay, the plan and issue are aligned around the migration order we discussed, baseline integration, then regression, safety net, blah, 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 clean up with the umbrella. Okay. So we actually haven't done anything. Should we have Ripley look at this and verify
Well,
everything?
Ripley was the one that probably created that if
Was it?
Ripley is your architect. So
maybe. Well, it didn't
Next
say,
step,
never said Ripley explicitly. So, um,
you can
what's
have Ripley triage the areas if Ripley's your architect. Ripley triage the existing issues and assign the right squad members to it. You
triage
can
the?
actually add, put them in in sprints so that you can eventually assign the team to, hey,
Yeah.
tackle sprint 1, tackle sprint 2. I would
So
say
create
triage the existing issues, assign team members, and create sprints.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see what Ripley can do. Did you see Anthropic came out with a new upgrade to Claude and Claude Code 4.7?
No, but
I
I
guess
saw
you've
some
heard of
messaging around the
Mythos.
pricing of it.
You've heard of Mythos, that one that they said is too dangerous to get to let out in the public. So
Yeah.
basically, they pulled code, the coding part out of Mythos for 4.7. At least that's what uh, I read. So it's a 4.7 is a pretty big improvement for code writing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Take a
Okay.
look.
So what's that?
So I'll have to take a look. I've been spending most of my time with just the generic GPT
Gotcha.
ones.
So it says it's got the backlog shape now, creating squad labels, mapping out issue to a primary owner. Then I'll create 3 migration sprints as milestones and attach the issues to them.
Good.
So it looks like
Now
we
the
are,
interesting thing is when it starts to triage stuff, it's going to put in time. I have no idea where it gets the time from, but sometimes it says this is a small effort. It's 2 to 3 hours, but in agent time, that's like 2 or 3 minutes. Or
okay.
this is going to take a week, even though it's not a quote unquote man week
Yeah.
or person week. Okay, so it created all the labels. So now, if you look at your GitHub issues, you should see a label for each squad member and then maybe a migration one because they might have labeled everything migration.
Yeah.
Yep, there they
There
are.
we go. Yep.
So it's interesting in this project, it has just squad in there and then the squad text in mine, in my JJG net broadcasting, it doesn't have the word squad, although I did
Okay.
create a squad member for myself and
Okay.
gave it instructions saying anything that's assigned to Squad Joe, it's not to touch unless I
Yeah.
ask it to do a PR
Okay.
review.
And it does have these squad colon Ripley,
Yeah.
squad colon
And that
Ash.
tells
So
me who
that's,
it's assigned for.
yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't think it does any projects, agents. No, agents must be different. Must be co-pilot agents.
Well,
But
that's what the co-pilot's working on right now. If you go back to the agents, you'll probably see. I don't know, that was another one.
yeah, that's different.
Sometimes you'll see the work you're doing actually listed there since you're using the co-pilot
Yeah.
CLI. So it
Oh,
created 3 sprints and a bunch of owner labels. So
yep.
it's ready to start working. You can say something like, team, let's start with sprint 1, and it will start kicking off all that work.
Do I have to say at team or just team?
You can say team. The ad is used if you're going to a specific person and there is no
Okay.
specific team. that's going to be going for
A while.
minutes to an hour,
Yeah.
depending on. I didn't read all the stuff for
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6, but
But
it'd take a while. It's
it's,
going to start spinning off different agents to do that work.
yeah, but it's also 3:05 Eastern time, so
Yep.
we can wrap up now and we can come back tomorrow when Sprint 1 is done, and I'll keep everything in here. I won't touch it until we come back tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, because if you close Rider, that terminal window's closed and everything is going
Yep,
to stop. So keep
exactly.
it open.
So we will be back tomorrow at 2 Eastern to see how this kind of how Sprint 1 uh, happened. So, but
Oh, look at that.
but yeah,
Lori just put something in chat. Hey, Lori, it's been a while since we've chatted. Hope you're doing well.
cool. Hello,
Okay, that
Lori.
being said, we will sign up or sign in tomorrow again
Yep.
at 2 Eastern, 11 Mountain Standard Time, and whatever other time zones.
Yep. See you tomorrow.